What matters most in American Truck Simulator? The truck or the driver? We have a pretty fun experiment ahead. I started a new profile, a new company, and I hired only 2 drivers. Thomas at 2.5 rating, which was the highest rating I could find, and George with an impressive 0.8 rating, the lowest available on the hiring market. But here's the catch. I gave them 2 different trucks. George, our newbie driver with pretty much zero experience, got a shiny new Kenworth W900 straight out of the showroom, costing us around $200,000. For Thomas, the experienced driver in our lineup, he was assigned to a pretty old Western Star 5700 with 250,000 miles on it, a 1-star condition that we bought used for just shy of $30,000. Next, I made sure there are $0 in our bank account so we can properly track how our finances progress with this lineup. And with me finally being parked in our garage and with our drivers all ready to hit the road, it was time for our experiment to begin. In the following few minutes, I'll show you the full aftermath after I have simulated the full year with this configuration. And let me tell you, the results were... well, I think it's easier if I just show you. After the first week, with a total investment of around $415,000, out of which we spent $180,000 to upgrade our started garage, $230,000 on our 2 trucks, and another $3,000 in hiring costs for our drivers, after wages, truck maintenance and fuels were deducted, we generated a net profit of $80,000, which is insane. Not much has changed for our driver skills. Both of them stayed at the same rating, which I kinda expected to be the case after just 1 week. The numbers did show a small gap in earnings, however. Thomas, with the old Western Star truck, was averaging a daily profit of $5,500, and George, in the brand new Kenworth, top of the line amenities, comfort, was pulling in about $3,800 in daily profit. At this point, it was too early to tell if the gap of roughly $1,700 between them was due to the truck's condition or the driver's skill. And that being said, when you look at our investment, the truck that I got for Thomas was $30,000, which basically means he already paid it off in less than a week. Everything here from now is just profit. Meanwhile, George, sitting in a brand new $200,000 rig, was going to need a bit more time to break us even. Roughly 8 more weeks if my math is right. So while this experiment doesn't stop here, it might seem like the new truck was a terrible idea. At the same time, George is still basically a beginner, and maybe that investment in the brand new truck will start to make more sense over time. Let's keep some more time and see what happens. It has now been a full month, and we can finally see some bigger changes. Thomas did improve his rating, going from 2.5 to 3.3, but his daily profits barely moved to around $5,800 a day. That's barely a $300 increase. George, on the other hand, probably still under the new truck frenzy, jumped all the way up to 2.5 in rating, averaging a profit of $9,200 per day. He completely overtook Thomas, and since the gap between the ratings stayed pretty much the same, I started to wonder. In the first week, Thomas paid off his truck instantly, while George still had 8 weeks to go. But now, George paid off his truck too, and it's generating us almost double in terms of profit on a daily basis. I'm still not fully convinced that I can confidently say one matters more than the other between the truck and the driver, but it looked like the brand new Kenworth might actually have been a better choice, even with a lower rating driver that we hired for it. Like I said, I still wasn't fully convinced, so I decided to spend another 3 hours of my life and simulate a full year in American Truck Simulator. After 12 months, I was so excited to finally see the results, but I felt quite disappointed. And I'll let you see the results, and I'll talk about why I felt that way. Thomas kept improving. He reached an 8.3 rating, developing new skills, and he was averaging around $13,600 of daily profits for our company. George got up to 7.5, and although his rating was still lower than Thomas, he was still going to do a bit better with an average profit of $14,400 per day. So after everything, they are basically in the same place. Not identical, but close enough that it does not matter anymore. The difference at the start between the poor condition truck, the experienced driver, the brand new truck, and the inexperienced driver initially got me thinking it could all make a difference, but it doesn't. It just evens out. So with that, I call our experiment off with a hint of bitterness. In ATS and ETS2, it's neither the truck or the driver that could make a difference for your company. And it's mainly due to the game's economy design. When I zoomed out and I look at the company as a whole, it got even worse for me, because with just 2 drivers, I was profiting $200,000 per week, about $670,000 in total revenue, out of which $15,000 went into maintenance, $7,000 into fuel costs, and then $450,000 in payroll. You heard it, my drivers were pulling in around $500,000 per week. And as of today, after 14 months of employment to my company, they were both enjoying an early retirement. Thomas bought a nice place by the sea, and George bought a big cattle farm in South Texas. He still drives from time to time. Now, jokes aside, why I felt a bit disappointed was because these 2 people that I hired for my company felt like just numbers going up, and it showed me just how limited and basic the economy system really is in these games. If you love this type of videos, make sure to subscribe and hit the like button. It really helps me know that you want to see more of this, and I'll happily create it for you guys. If you think ATS deserves a proper career mode and maybe a fully overhauled economy system, leave your suggestions in the comments. I read and reply to each one. And as always, until the next time, stay safe on the road and keep on trucking. Cheers.